Hi, my name is Tomomi Gariano, a certified Zentangle teacher. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is day 9 of Advent Tangles 2025. Today's tangle is K.G.I by Aya Sasaki, CZT. And this tangle is inspired by pinwheel, Japanese pinwheel, kazaguruma. So let's go over the step out as usual. So you're going to start with 2 lines crossing, and then you're going to add another set of lines crossing in between these first 2 lines, and then from here you're going to extend. I think all of these are about the same length, and from here you're going to extend or add another line going like this. So what I'm seeing as I tangle this is about 90 degree, and then you repeat. So from here 90 degree. So this will be easier to turn the tile, turn the paper, continue adding one end of this line at a time, going all the way around 90 degrees, so none of the lines are really crossing or touching. So once you have this, so the line you are adding, if you're not sure how long this line should be, always stop a little shorter than you think you may need, because you can always extend, right? So let's start with this one. This was the last one, and from here you add another line extending about, extending this way. So again, right here is 90 degree, and this line connects here behind here. So like if I look at this, if I draw a line from here, it comes about here, right? So I want to extend this a little bit and have the imaginary line connecting behind here. So this one, it's a little short, so I'm going to extend a little bit, and this one I'm going to extend a little bit, this one too. So you can always extend lines. So like this one is actually a little too long, so you can't make it shorter, but I can kind of sort of force it going inside, going toward the inside. This one's a little too short, so I'm going to extend. And it doesn't have to be like perfectly even, but this is the idea of this tangle K.G.I. So let's tangle together. And as usual, I'm going to order this. So today is December 9th. It's a beautiful day in Japan, very sunny. It's cold, but it's very sunny and beautiful. Outside of my window, I see beautiful yellow ginkgo leaves. I have this big ginkgo tree outside of my window, and all I can see from my window is yellow today, and it's just gorgeous. And I feel fall foliage this year is a little later than usual, because it's already December 9th and I still have this ginkgo tree full of leaves. So as I'm looking at this space, I could do one big IGA, but I want to see if I can actually layer 2 of them. Well, we'll see how that goes, right? So maybe around here is the center. So I'll make a little dot to indicate where the center is, and I will start with smaller one, maybe about this big. And I'm turning my tiles since I already explained the step out, so I don't think I'm not confusing you by turning my tile. It's probably easier if I turn my tile for some of you to understand. Maybe for some of you it's easier to understand if I don't turn the tile. Everybody sees space, recognizes space, or interprets space differently. So work in a way that makes sense to you. Okay, so this will be my first layer of pinwheel, IGA, and I would put one behind this. And so next one I could start here, or maybe I could do here. Let's try. So it's gonna be like this. Maybe about this long. So it's crossing behind. Oh, I think my headphone just died, so my recording may sound a little different. It may catch more noise. I try to wear my wireless headphone as I record. I think it records the sounds better from my headphone than directly from my phone. Or maybe it's actually better, who knows, but I'm just letting you know it may sound a little different. So from here, okay, I'm gonna turn my tile. And add lines going 90 degrees. I think this is gonna work beautifully. I can already see it. I like when things works out really nicely like this. Maybe I was subconsciously measuring the size, but I wasn't really thinking through how long each of these lines should be, but it seems like it's taking up the entire tile really nicely. So I am pretty happy with how this is turning out to be, and I am going to start with this smaller one. I'm gonna aura. I don't know if this aura is part of a step out or just a extra process, but it might be a part of the step out. I didn't show, but I think it's, if I do in 2 different colors, it creates the feeling of 2 different origami papers intertwined and layered. like this. Maybe a little hard to see on the camera, but you see, I think this is gonna be even more apparent when I do the shading. So for the next one, bigger one, let's see, maybe I'll do this one blue. And maybe I'll do wider aura. So today, for my daily reading for Advent, I was reading from, I think it was from Matthew 25, 1 to 3, verse 1 through 3. It's on my show notes. That's where Jesus talks about 10, well, actually 5 wise versions and 10 versions and 5 wise versions. And if you know the story, you know what I'm talking about. So this scripture had special meaning to me because I spoke about my high school yesterday. It was a wonderful high school, all Christian mission school, private mission school. I went in Japan, and our school symbol used image of these 5 versions. So it was on our school jacket. We had school uniform, and also there was a statue on the campus. So this is something that's near and dear to me. So I'm happy to read this scripture this morning and being reminded of how we need to be prepared. Speaking of preparedness, we had a big earthquake last night in northern area of Japan, Aomori area. I think it was like a magnitude 6 or something like that. We have a lot of earthquakes in Japan. We are on a big plate, and the plates are constantly moving slowly but surely. And let me see, I could keep them as they are, but I just want to add a little something to add a little more texture. So just gonna add something simple like this. Yeah, so we talk about preparedness, disaster preparedness a lot on TV, on the internet, or even in school. We have earthquake or disaster preparedness training. So we try to be as prepared as we can be, but really, you can't really predict when earthquake comes. They just come when they come. That's the difference of earthquake and some of the other natural disaster. Like, yeah, I guess typhoons and tornadoes, they do huge damage and it's scary, but I feel at least you have time to respond to a degree. Not perfectly. I've never been in big tornadoes, so I don't know what it's like to prepare for the tornadoes or how much warning you have. But typhoon, you definitely get warning. You can see that it's coming on the map. you're watching your forecast closely. But when it comes to earthquake, with all this technology that we have, we still can't really give earthquake warning early enough. So we have to be prepared, or we have to know how to prepare for earthquake. And I think because Japan is expecting pretty big earthquake in next, I don't know, next how many years, they say probably like next 5 to 20 years, or I can't remember exact number, but it's something that's inevitable when you live in such active area that where the plates are actively shifting and moving. So it's part of life. And the biggest one I experienced was 1995, I think. Was it 1995? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, must be 1995. Kobe earthquake. It was early in the morning, maybe 5 or 6. Can't remember exact time, but I remember that I was sleeping. I was sleeping in my parents' house, in my room upstairs. I was in high school, and I just remember all of a sudden I was jolted awake, and I thought, oh my gosh, who's shaking my bed? I thought, I was half awake, half dreaming, and thinking, oh, this is a crazy dream, and who's shaking my bed? Is it some kind of crazy activity going on? And I thought, I was like, oh, it's a ghost and it's scary, and I gotta get up and do something. And then I realized I heard somebody screaming outside, say earthquake, and I realized it was an earthquake. So that's the moment I realized it was an earthquake, and I covered my head with my blanket, and I waited till it stops. And it's like, I meant to aura this. Yeah, I waited till it stopped shaking, and it felt like forever. It was a long quake, and it was vertical quake that I never experienced. So that's the jolt that I felt. Typical earthquake, you feel a horizontal shake if you are away from epicenter, but when you are close to epicenter and with certain type of earthquake, you feel the vertical shake, and it was one of those vertical quake that I felt, and it was scary. And so I waited till it stopped, and I tried to check on, I wanted to check to make sure everybody in my family is okay. I was upstairs, and next to my room was my parents, and I asked them they're okay, and they sounded okay, and I wanted to get outside of my room because my grandmother was living with us at that time, and she was downstairs. So I wanted to make sure that she's okay, and I tried to get outside of the room, but my piano has moved, which was really surprising because the piano is on a wheel, but because it's an earthquake country, we put piano legs, the wheel, in a deep kind of supporting plate so that it doesn't easily move. But I think with the initial vertical jolt, it Just a second, I want to use blue first. It jumped out from the from the plate and rolled enough to block my doorway. So luckily my door swing outside, not outward, not inward. So I was able to climb up the piano, go over the piano, open the door, and go outside of the room to the downstairs to check on my grandma. And grandma was okay, and everybody was okay in my house. So I was relieved, and of course we didn't have power at that time and for several days, and the water is stopped, the gas is stopped, everything is stopped, and then it was just a crazy time. We had water delivered. We had to go get our water for a few days. And we were lucky. In the sense that we lived in an area that's close to everything, to the service, to the water station and everything. So but the house next to us, our neighbor's house, completely collapsed, and the older lady and her daughter who used to live there survived the earthquake, but they lost the house. And I have many friends who lost their house, and it was just such a crazy time. And as you remember, there was a big earthquake in 2011. No, which year was that? I was in the States, so I wasn't directly impacted. But the one with the big tsunami in Fukushima with the nuclear meltdown, and that was a scary time too. So compared to those huge ones, this one was not as devastating, but nonetheless, it's scary. And if you've never been in a big earthquake, maybe if you're in California, you remember the big one. If you've never been in a big earthquake, you don't know how much it actually shakes, and it is scary. And also the big earthquake usually is, well, we usually have subsequent big earthquake followed by major ones. So we are expecting that the people in northern area is still expecting big earthquakes for next several days. And it was last night around 11 p.m. So I was half asleep, and I was already in the bed, and I was dozing off, and then I was woken up by earthquake. So I'm not sure how many miles away, but we still felt it in Tokyo too. It wasn't terrible, but we felt it. We definitely felt it. So yeah, that's what I was thinking this morning as I was reading the scripture about preparedness. So the scripture on Matthew 25 talks about how we are to be prepared for Jesus' coming. So that was that was definitely close to my heart this morning as I read this scripture. But on a lighter note, we are preparing for Christmas season. And I don't know if you prepare, if you celebrate Christmas in your country or at your house with your family, but Advent is the time for us to prepare and to expect for Jesus' arrival, Jesus' birthday, the Christmas that we are celebrating together. So it's a very appropriate scripture, and I'm grateful that I read that this morning. And if you have any, or if you live in an area that's prone to certain type of disaster, you're probably prepared, maybe for earthquake, for tornadoes, or for typhoon or hurricanes, or whatever other disaster there may be, that you are prepared. And if you are not, please do prepare. I mean, we can't really prepare perfectly, but preparedness helps to save lives and helps to make your experience less painful. And when I was in the States, I was volunteer as a disaster preparedness community, and we did different training, search and rescue training, communication training, and that really helps me to feel a little better about natural disaster that could happen at any moment. I mean, I don't mean to scare you. I mean, if you live in an area that are free from that type of major natural disaster, you count yourself as one of the blessed ones, as many of us live in disaster-prone area. And if you live in an area that's disaster-prone and if you feel unprepared, please take a moment. Maybe make it your goal next year to make your disaster preparedness kit. It could be simple as having enough food supplies in the pantry, and also prepare enough water. Water is more important than food. Yeah, food is important, but you can survive without food for however, I can't remember how many days, but for a while. But we definitely need water, so please at least have water for yourself and for your family for at least 3 days, preferably for a week, depending on where you live. If you live in an area that tend to receive faster service from the government, from organization, so maybe you don't have to prepare for a week. But if you live out in the wild, maybe you are more prepared, but you want to prepare for at least a week. Okay, so this is beautiful. I love this. I love, especially after I shade. Maybe I'll add a little shading here. This is such a fun tangle to shade. And also, one thing to keep in mind, this is what I learned in my disaster preparedness training, is you may think that, well, the firefighters and police and military will come to help me, aid me. Yes, it is true, but if you are an adult at your home and you're healthy, you are your priority. Well, they prioritize you in lower priority. The first priority I heard from the firefighter is to provide aid and restore power and services to hospitals first, and then if during the day they check on the school first. So if you are at home, you will be probably one of the last one to get help from. So be prepared. And anyway, thank you for watching. Today is day 9 and today's tea was orange blossom, and I am very excited about this tea. It's gonna be delicious, and I will see you tomorrow for day 10. Bye now.